Good evening, Team Expansion guys. Welcome for jumping onto Sunday's training course. So we're going to be doing something very, very different this Sunday afternoon. Normally we're having training, we're having IMDs on the call. We always focus about building our business. But today we want to do something a little bit dynamically different in terms of knowing more about our products and what goes into packaging our products. So my wife and I, Sally, we were blessed enough to meet this incredible individual whilst we were on a mega dream trip in Egypt earlier this year. And what an amazing, amazing man. And I'm so excited being able to host him, knowing and tapping into his knowledge and spending just a little bit of quality time with him. I know for a fact that he's going to pour a lot into us on this call right now. So just a little bit about his background. Previously, he was an entrepreneur where he launched a wealth and lifestyle club in Cyprus and achieving $5 million in sales in the first 3 years. He later spent about 10 years in various managerial positions with the largest hotel chains in the world. So he has over 20 years experience in the travel industry. Currently, he holds the position as a senior director in Rovia, where he has headed up in Europe, Middle East, and Africa. And he is the person that is directly responsible for all of us having fun, freedom, and fulfillment using our amazing, amazing product. So currently right now, he is in Santorini, Greece on a dream trip. I just hope that the sun is shining so we can have a little bit of a snippet of the beauty surroundings where he's at right now. So George Adamides, on behalf of Team Expansion Worldwide, we are so blessed to have you on this call. Thank you for joining us.
My pleasure, brother. Good evening, Andrew. Good evening, Team Expansion. Can you hear me?
Absolutely, loud and clear.
Beautiful. The sun's not shining, but I can show you the pool. How about that?
Fantastic. Nothing wrong with that.
So it's about just after 9:30 p.m. here. We're on the photography dream trip that I'm co-hosting. The first time we're ever doing something like this. So prior to War Adventures, I worked in the hotel and travel industry for 20 years. And if it wasn't for War Adventures, my way out of the corporate world was going to be photography. So I thought, okay, let's do a travel photography dream trip. And it's been amazing. We did kind of a quick seminar and teaching some tips and tricks. And we've done amazing tours. I threw a bonus excursion that people didn't know about to go up to Ia, O-I-A, it's spelt, which is the amazing shots of Santorini, which you see whenever you Google Santorini. And everyone goes there for the sunset, and it's busy as it's unbelievably busy. But try going at sunrise and you get a whole different experience. So glad to be here, Andrew. Thank you for the invitation, and I'm here to serve.
Awesome, George. Thank you so much. We had a bit of a chat earlier, and I thought, how do you want to run tonight? And I thought we would just go with a Q&A. So, I'm just going to fire a couple of questions at you. And these are some of the questions that some of our reps, some of our Dream Trips members, sometimes they're thinking about it, but they don't always verbalize it. So I'm really blessed to have you on the call that I can represent everybody within Team Expansion and just put it out to you. And let's just get it directly from the senior director of Rovi himself. So George, very quickly, let's just start off very quickly. When I did your introduction, I'd like you just to share a little bit about your story, a little bit about your background, and also your journey, because I know that you've gone from managerial in travel. You've also been an entrepreneur for X amount of years, and now you're the ex-senior director within Rovia. So can you just take a few minutes and just talk us through that journey?
Absolutely, Andrew. Well, it's a hell of a journey. I'll give you the summary when kind of how I came across War Adventures. Prior to War Adventures, I was, for about 10 years in the corporate world, worked for Intercontinental Hotels Group, worked for Marriott International, now both of them in IHG used to be the biggest hotel chain in the world. Now Marriott is. And I worked my way up, quite aggressively in my career, coming out of university, even though I was already assistant manager of a restaurant prior to finishing university. I went into hotels as a supervisor, worked my way up. And as Wayne says, Wayne Nugent, the founder of and the chief visionary officer of World Ventures says, I was climbing up the corporate ladder, but I didn't realize the ladder was leaning up against the wrong wall, because at the top of that ladder, there's no time and money freedom, right? At the top of that ladder, maybe some people see it as success, but if you want to have a family, if you want to have time and money on your side, if you want to be at the driving seat of your life, if you want to, have a guarantee for your future as much as they can be, I realized it wasn't possible for me in the corporate world. So that's when I started building World Ventures part-time whilst working full-time. Within 6 months, I was able to walk away from 10-year career, help launch World Ventures in Cyprus, really helped bring it into Europe. I was myself and Efrosini were members before World Ventures launched outside of the US. So, but when we did start, there was no Rovia outside of the US. There was no World Ventures outside of the US. So there wasn't even any exciting dream trips outside of the US. The only dream trip was one to Switzerland for 10 days. It cost $2,000 per person, which was made, of course, for Americans and not Europeans. So, in life, my friends, you can either look for an excuse or you can find a way. And we found a way. And I created first international dream trip outside of the US. I created at the hotel that I used to work at before I quit my job at Aphrodite Hills. And I negotiated a good package with them. And we had the first dream trip there. And I didn't even realize, because we never even went on a dream trip, I was supposed to be a host. So without knowing, that first dream trip in November 2009, I hosted that dream trip. And then I created another dream trip in January 2010. I hosted that one. I created another one in February. I hosted that one. And then in March, we had a mini mega with close to 400 people. And Rovi finally trained me to be someone doing this. And that's the amazing thing. One of the amazing things about dream trips, right, is having a host there who's not there to sell you or promote you or upsell you. They're there to serve you. They're there to make sure that you have an amazing dream trip, that you get your tips about the destination. So I ended up hosting the first 20 dream trips in Cyprus and Greece. I ended up contracting dream trips for the first 3 years part-time. For the first 6 months, I did it for free because I was really just helping my business. And the director at that time of Rovia basically came up to me and said, "George, I want to pay you $1,000 a month for what you're doing, because really you're working for us. And it's not a charity. We appreciate what you're doing." So that's one of the golden nuggets here, my friends, that I really want to share with you this evening is, are you a rep or are you a CEO? Are you doing this part-time as a little side thing, as a part-time job, or are you a business owner, right? Are you a CEO? And can you put that CEO hat and really feel like a business owner and help co-create what we're doing here? Because that's what Wayne Nugent always talks about. And my friends, I want to clarify the difference here. I am now working full-time for Rovia, and I'll tell you how that happened. Some of the things I may speak about have to do with World Ventures, and that's because I built the business for 8 years, over 8 years. So after launching Cyprus in 2009, I launched Greece in 2011, and in 2012 was contracting dream trips as well as being a rep. And then I went back to full-time being a rep, and I moved to Australia with my wife in 2014. We helped launch Australia a few weeks after that, even though a lot of that I can't really take credit for, because there comes a point where you really build leadership and duplication in your business, and things begin to roll, with or without you. And it wasn't until 2018 February, I think it was Valentine's Day, pretty sure it's the 14th or the 15th. Jim Menge, now the president of Rovia, gives me a call. And he says, and I already knew of him. I helped kind of advise some of the trips we wanted in Europe then. I was already consulting for Rovia from 2015 when Rovia was restructured. I was consulting part-time as field liaison for Europe, being the voice of the field, helped create the first ever product plan of the company, 2016, where it was really Rovia now contracting dream trips with intention and with field knowledge rather than randomly. So Jim was already aware of this. We're already quite close anyway. And then he calls me up in 2018. He says, George, I want you to head up Rovia for Europe, Middle East, Africa. And I was blown away. I said, Jim, I need to think about it. Which in reality meant, Jim, I need to ask my wife because, before I got married, someone very wise said to me, George, happy wife, happy life. But it wasn't, so it was really to discuss that with Ariadne. But I already knew the answer, that it was a yes. And then I really took the following hour just to collate my thoughts. And I wrote him a big long email with my demands. And in those demands did not include money. It wasn't about how much is going to be paid. I don't have an employee mindset. I have an entrepreneurial mindset, a co-creative mindset. So it was really about, okay, if I'm going to do this, Jim, and I already knew it was his vision to regionalize, to build 3 independent regions, not have, a US company that works around the world, but to have a global company with global offices all around the world. And I needed to understand that I'm going to have the decision-making power to do that, to really build a strong team. And the answer basically came up, yes, absolutely. And within a couple of weeks, I was over in headquarters and just showing my plans and my vision for the region. And the rest is history, shall I say.
Awesome, George. We're so fortunate to have you at the helm, doing what you're doing because you make life for us a lot easier, just taking those vacations. So let's talk about that for a moment. So let's talk a little bit about what goes into putting a dream trip together, because as a member, we just open up the app, we just go online and we just see the thousands and thousands of dream trips and we just need to choose where we want to go. So we got massive travel problems. Mm-hmm. What I wanted to ask you specifically is, can you help us understand what happens on the back end that we don't get to see, that are problems that you're faced with all the time?
Absolutely. Great question, Andrew. So, like I said, prior to 2016, Rovia was really, it wasn't consulting the field in terms of the product they wanted. And I remember from 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, we were sending these emails with, hotel recommendations and special holiday recommendations. And they were going into a Rovia black hole vacuum that we never saw any follow through come out of that. And it was quite frustrating. So one of the things that I pioneered in 2016 is I created what we call today the product plan. And that product plan was really going out and speaking to the top leaders of Europe then, and now we speak all over, Europe and Africa. We do this all over the world. And we ask them what they want to do, where they want to go, what holidays should we cover, right? What price points should we have? What type of experiences do you want to experience? And in 2016, we finished the first product plan in December. The problem with that is the contractors, the regional product managers actually contract all the dream trips, already contract up to mid-2017. So we already missed half of 17. So we learned our lesson and we finished a product plan of 2018 by about June 2017, right? And then we had Josh Payne come in as CEO. September 2016, Jim Mensch came in as president of Rovia. And those were real landmarks and milestones in the history of Rovia, because we've turned from what looked like then a startup with no intel, with no data, to now a massive global company with incredible intel and insights in what our members love to do, what they book, right? So that mixed with field knowledge, mixed with data and booking trends and understanding what our members want, Now we have a product plan already built in, for 2020. We're already contracting 2020, and we're looking at 2021. What are we going to do differently in 2020? How we build dream trips. So, it starts with marketing perspective, creating that product plan and adjusting it depending on where our best-selling trips were, where our worst-selling trips were, what are our members saying. We've put together a travel advisor council in 2016 in Europe when I was field liaison. We put that together last year for Africa. So that's the voice of the product, the membership in Africa. And Andrew, I want to invite you on the Travel Advisory Council, actually, you and Sally, that you guys really need to really belong there, because you are users of the product. You are, waving that product flag. You've got an amazing positive mindset. Spending time with you at the Rixos Sharm El Sheikh Mega was a real pleasure. And that's really what we need from, the TAC team, the TAC members, is you be the voice of the membership, whether, covering the baby boomers, covering the millennials, covering the families, and you are able to impact the product plan, right? Now, in terms of it's dynamic, travel changes minute by minute, right? A hotel can change their pricing strategy 1 hour to the next, depending on demand and supply. So pricing is one of the challenges that we sometimes face, because, when we contract, I will not sign a contract that's below 28 to 30% savings at that time of the best online price. And we usually compare the hotel's website and booking.com, right? Because Booking is a force to be reckoned with. Expedia is pretty big over in the US, but Booking, where we are, is probably one of the most well-known online engines. And we price compare, and we make sure we have a very good deal, and then I'll approve for the contract to come through. We create a unique experience, an excursion that goes along with the dream trip. If it's a dream trip, usually there's multiple experiences. There's a welcome reception where everybody gets together. You get a wristband, so you know who's part of the dream trip. You can network with them. If it's a dream break, there's only one experience, one excursion without a host. And then that will go through a quality check to make sure, okay, that hotel, if we've never used it before, we don't have data by members saying that it's a great hotel and they love that design, that may be rejected. Or we'll dissect that hotel and look at online ratings and make sure it's the quality that we want. We make sure that the excursion, operationally, the timings, everything works well. And that will be finalized by the contracting team, the legal department, and kind of all of that piece. And then you'll be handed over to QA for a final kind of quality check. That, again, at the time of launch, the pricing, everything is okay. The images are great, and then it goes online for sale. And then we look at the demand. We look at how that performs, and who's booking that, to make sure that we've got enough dream trips bookable for our members at any given time. Because some trips definitely just fly off the shelves. Some stay there a bit longer, and it's almost a science to manage that, because that can depend on so many factors.
Absolutely. I love what you said about product plan and speaking to leaders, because that's kind of lining me up to my next question. I want to ask you something in terms of team trips, because it seems to be a buzzword and it seems to be spoken about a lot with the leaders, especially here in South Africa. And, our vacation, obviously, it becomes our story, especially when we're sharing the business opportunity. So how does a leader like myself, how do we go about putting a team trip together for our specific area to help boost our team, so that our members that are joining for the first time can get to experience a dream trip, take a dream trip, experience the value, and that also becomes part of their story when sharing their business side?
Yeah, absolutely. So before I mention that, Andrew, I want to mention this for all of our members out there. I'm sure we've all had travel hangovers, right? I used to say this when I was presenting World Ventures, that there's you do in the office or at work, right? You do what you call the before the holiday dance, right? Where you're kind of going to all your colleagues and saying, "Hey, I'm going on holiday, I'm going on holiday, I'm going on holiday," and then you come back and you do the after holiday dance. Hey, came back from holiday, came back from holiday. Here's my photos, here's my pictures. In reality, when you come back, you've got a holiday hangover, right? You're depressed, you're miserable. You're like, man, I didn't, I didn't want to come back to work. And haven't you ever felt like on the first day of being back at work, like you never left? Like there's so much pressure and emails, and by the end of the first day, you're like, man, all that relaxation is just gone out the window. Can I give you guys the cure to that? The anecdote to having a holiday hangover. So the cure to that is having your next trip already booked before you come back, right? Because you won't have a hangover. You just have a countdown for your next trip, right? And that is a strategy that I've used for a few years now, and life becomes a joy. Life becomes so special of just having to look forward to new experiences. I look at this summer, and we're in Santorini now. We're at Anasa Hotel just for a couple of nights. About a month ago, went to my wife's village for a few nights during the August break. We went to Croatia for the Mega Dream Trip and the Mega Rockstar for a week back to back. Just all of these pockets of experiences. That's what we're going to remember for the rest of our lives, right? So going back to your question, Andrew, about team trips, they are a powerful tool that I believe are very underutilized in Africa. Europeans have been using them for years. Prior to 2016, there was custom private trips where you were saying, okay, I want to go to this destination, to this hotel during these dates, and I want these excursions included. But custom is expensive, right? Custom, there is no bulk buying power. So the offers coming back were expensive, were overpriced because we're going to new hotels with no buying power. And since 2016, we do what we call private trips and a duplicate plan, which basically means that any of our dream trips online or dream breaks can be taken as a private trip, right? We just copy the existing design, and you can take a private link that you can promote only to your team. Hadassah has done an amazing job of doing this, and we're at the IEC. Last time I was in Africa for was it Momentum or no boot camp just now. So when I was over in Africa, we had Colin Josh Payne was showing some of the top numbers in Africa, and Hadassah was right up there, having some of the best retention in Africa. And she's a big user of team trips. And she messaged me during that. She goes, George, the secret is promoting the product, right? That she creates a team trip. Who's eligible to credit team trip? Anybody with a team. Now, if you have a team of 10 or 20 or 50 or 100 members, maybe you're not ideal, because when you take a team trip, you do sign a risk agreement because, with some of the properties we are taking risk, that you're going to sell 80% of the rooms. So if you take a 20-room trip, you need to sell minimum 16, otherwise it will actually cost you money, right? So if you don't have a very big team, you want to do one of these, then maybe you can team up with a few different leaders, like some Greek leaders do. Anybody can sell 3-4 rooms each, right? Even if you got a team of 20. And so you can reach out to Elena Halalambida, which I can send you her email, Andrew, if you don't have it, or anybody who wants it. I prefer these to be rolled down via RMD, NMD, IMD, even though it's not a travel benefit for select whose ideal is, to team, and then I can also send you what we call a ready-to-go catalog, which are actually trips that are ready to go live within 24 hours. So if you adding of the next month, and again, it can be anything online. You request it through Eleanor. If it's not one of the ready to go, then 2 to 3 weeks or 2 to 4 weeks. Sometimes it's done faster, and you've got a couple of months bookable on the public website. And the amazing thing about a team trip is that, Dream Trip already feels like a family, right? You're there, and this ties everybody together, and people look at each other like they are family. A team trip is at a whole different level because you're already a family. You're already super glued together. So IMDs are already saying, team trips allow me to increase the retention in my team, build the relationships, create culture, because I'm enhancing those relationships. And when the relationships are glued together, then of course the people promoting them, who are also on top of a member, in the member, can be a lot more powerful as well, because they can work with other of their teammates, right? And really create running buddies coming out of a team trip.
Brilliant, George. You nailed that. Thank you so much. You pretty much answered my question verbatim. So I'm excited for that. But also my takeaway there that you mentioned, book a dream trip from a dream trip. I didn't realize that that's what I've been doing from the day that I joined, and really loving the product. I think to be following in your footsteps there, which is great. Can we talk a little bit about Gold and Platinum for a moment? What would our Gold and Platinum members expect to see available coming up on the app now in the next 12 to 18 months? Is there some excitement that you're busy working on that we can expect to see rolling out here in Africa in the next year?
Yeah, absolutely. So, now with Titanium coming out, we're really pouring a lot of value into Platinum and Titanium, right? And of course, Gold, because at the end of the day, they are all memberships. Guys, we're looking in the next 12 months to build how we do dream trips from the ground up, right? So we're playing with some ideas. I can't share too much right now, but it would almost be an opportunity to unveil, the next year's lineup of new dream trip destinations that we've contracted, not having a bunch of contractors behind a computer, but something I've really done with my team. And it's taken some time. It's taken a good year to crumble down and rebuild a new team. And now there's a very high performing team in place. And I want them to actually go and visit some of the destinations they're contracting, especially the most important ones. So some of the things that you'll see us doing is what we call fam trips, which the travel industry is very well known for. They're familiarization trips, and they take agents that are usually selling, a hotel or a destination. They take them on a free trip, and they take them on excursions, and they stay in a couple of different hotels. Because when you live and breathe something, can you sell it better? Absolutely. So imagine that we've already started involving more of our members on fam trips. Because if you've lived and breathed that, are you going to book more people on that in the future, right? Are you going to speak to your friends and family about that in the future? Absolutely. So that's something that we're already doing, but we're going to do a lot more of. We're going to look at taking our experiences to a very unique level, just really having some tours, especially as you move into Platinum and Titanium, that actually are not even available online, right? I've given the example many times of, visiting the Sistine Chapel in Rome privately at 6, 7 a.m. before anybody else. On this dream trip here in Santorini, everyone goes to Ia, which is the north tip of the island, at sunset. Like, it's so funny driving there about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. You just see the whole island is just moving to Ia, and it's chaos. It is absolute chaos. People are bumping into each other. It's magical. If you watch a sunset from here, hair is standing on the back of my neck right now. I've never been to a place that when the final top of the piece of the sun just dips into the water and the sunset just finished, you've got like thousands of people around you and they all start applauding, right? They're applauding that the sun just went down, right? So experiencing things like that. And of course, we've got, dream breaks and dream trips always in Santorini. But we took our platinum members on a surprise morning tour that was extra cost, complimentary. They didn't even know about it. And we left at 6 a.m. from the hotel, and we caught the sunrise at Ia, where 98% of those people, the sun chasers, as we call them, were sleeping, right? And you've got some of the best photography you can do there because there's really nobody about, right? So we'll be doing more like that, more kind of surprise inclusions for our platinum or our titanium members, things that we're not listing on the website. We're going to be doing more trips that we plug trips together. So imagine that we've got like, 7-night dream trip or a 5-night dream trip at a destination, but overlapping will be a 2-night dream break. So even though that you're going on a dream break without a host, there's actually going to be a host at the hotel and other dream trippers as well. So we're going to be mixing the communities together and then overlapping a dream night with that as well, where the local members can attend a dream night that's included on the dream break or dream trip. And then you're now mingling all the local members with the international members traveling into that city, right? And you're creating these very unique events that nobody's doing around the world because nobody has a community like World Ventures. We want to increase our buying power a lot more and just constantly innovate. A big part of what we're doing right now is the new Rovia travel platform just launched. You want to see it right now that it's an infant. So yes, it's not working perfectly, but it's ours. We've built it, and it's going to get better and better. Right now, flights and hotels are on that platform. In the next 12 months, you're going to have anytime escapes, DTL, dream trips will move to that platform. And the amazing thing is that the app, the new Dream Trips preview app, if anybody hasn't seen that, is an amazing way that you can get prospects to download that app and preview some of the Dream Trips that are available. We built that. Brilliant. The old Dream Trips app, we outsourced that, right? So we've lost a lot of control over that. It's very clunky. The updates are expensive. And now we're building our own app. We're going to build a new Dream Trips app. The new Rovia travel platform, the functionality will get better and better and better. And that will become the new engine of kind of Dream Trips and Rovia behind the scenes. And soon we'll move away from our now, which is a bit of a clunky system of the way you book Dream Trips. The new Rovia travel platform will have a unified cart where you can add then your flight and your excursion, your transfers, do one checkout. So all of that is happening, guys and girls, in the next 12 to 18 months. And that's just some of it.
George, that's very exciting. Also, I love what you said about the agents going on a trip because they'll be critical because they're going to see it through the eyes of a tourist and a member. So they're going to feed that information back to you. I can imagine it's just going to get better and better and better as a result of that.
Absolutely.
George, I want to ask you a question. You probably see this all the time. If I'm going to be booking a dream trip, I'm basically accepting the responsibility of being my own agent, if I can call it that, because now I'm not going through a third-party travel agent to book my booking for me. I'm doing it myself. What is the fundamental mistake that you see Dream Trips members make when they're booking a vacation using our platform, the Dream Trips app or the dreamtrips.com platform?
Yeah. Andrew, I'm gonna make this a members and reps response, okay? Because if the representatives actually building the membership and expanding it, like I said, there's sometimes you pay someone to buy for a month and buy, and then you hang them up on the wall. You go up for the next sale. And this is a relationship business, especially that it's not a direct, it's not Tupperware mix, it's not, there's no big commissions when you're making sales. The big commissions come in building the relationships and creating repeat sales, right? So, a big mistake I see is that we're focusing, many times a lot on building the business and rep training, how to invite, score in 24 and, how to make your first calls and all of that. And that's great, right? But what about some product training? About making them understand the value of what they've bought. Compare some of the travel clubs out there that cost $10, $15, $20,000 have nowhere near the value of what Dream Trip does, right? Making them understand in their mind that I sit there and look at all the 50 Dream Trips that I've been on the last 10 years, and I look at so many people's smiles and so many relationships. Like here in Trinity right now, we've got people from Brazil, Japan, China, Italy, Romania, Israel, Cyprus, and it's only 20 rooms. It's almost like every single room is from a different country, right? Spain. So it's just amazing the relationships. So one of the things I would say is, for people really to make sure you're training your new members on the product and what they've got and how to use it and how to take advantage of it, right? If someone comes to you, I had an example of someone came up to me and says, George, I had this member, and they sent me this email, and what do you recommend? And the email basically said something like, I've been a member for 2 years. What are my logins? And what do you have available in was it the Caribbean or Bahamas or something, from the 21st of December to the 4th of January? And what training is needed there to understand, look, we've got 500 to 1,000 Dream Trips available at any given time. So you can look at specific dates and you'll probably find 10, 20, 30 Dream Trips going on during those dates. But if you're going to be so specific to say, I need to go to the Bahamas for Christmas and New Year on those specific dates, you're probably not going to find a Dream Trip. But then the options, if they really want to go to the Bahamas on those dates, you've got a couple of options. Check on our booking engine under hotels, right? Check on Dream Trips rewards on what other options, because they've got thousands of hotels there available, and with the rewards platform that can actually burn points. And something else we're working on in the next 12 to 18 months is moving the rewards platform actually within our ecosystem. So building our own point burning engine, right? And that's coming up in the next 12 to 18 months as well. So really training them of how many opportunities they have to actually, book some sort of hotel, Dream Trip, Dream Break, anytime escape, on the booking engine, all of those kind of opportunities to book a trip.
Awesome, George. I was going to ask you something very similar on my next question, so you've pretty much answered that already. So let's close with this last question. We've taken up enough of your time on your amazing vacation, so we don't want to be greedy. I want to close with this one.
Pleasure.
I want to ask you, what can we expect to see, or can we expect to see something different in terms of unique experiences for the curated vacations here in South Africa in 2020? Unique experiences? Is there anything planned for South Africa?
His connection's gone.
George, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Hi, George, I can hear you. Did you manage to get the question?
I got the question. I started answering, but I think I lost you for a second. Can you hear me now? Okay,
I can hear you perfectly.
great. So the first lesson I ever took in economics at university, and the tutor was talking about demand and supply. Right? It's the basic of economics. It's the basics of the business and the capitalistic driving engine. Right? So my friends in South Africa and in Africa, it's all about utilization. How much are you using our products? And I'll be honest with you, our utilization in Africa is not so good right now. And our team takes that personally because they feel like, okay, are we not producing good enough dream trips? Are our products not good enough? Are the hotels not good enough? Is the pricing not good enough? But looking at a lot of them, I believe they are very good, right? So this is a call to action to you to go book a dream trip. Go book one of the many trips we have available right now, because the more demand that we see, the more we're going to pour into you and invest into you. And yes, absolutely, to answer your question, Andrew, we're going to get better and better. We're going to create more unique experiences. We're going to look how to get more leverage and better partnerships. We're going to look how we can use, potentially leaders for some of those experiences, like we've done in Europe with some skydiving trips with George Adamides, which you had last weekend, which was amazing. 28 dream troopers jumping out of a plane at the same time with an IMD that's an absolute adrenaline junkie, or Chris Santos in Rome, you're right, teaching Instagram tips and tricks, or myself here with photography. There is so much we can do with uniqueness and working with a membership on that. So my promise to you is this is the worst we're ever going to be, right? We're here to innovate. We're here to get better and better. That is my commitment to you. The commitment I ask from you is be a product of the product, as we say in network marketing. And that means use it. And you should be an ambassador of the product, and you should be a flag of the product. And when people look at you, they think of fun, freedom, and fulfillment, right? And when that happens, then you know that you're doing the right thing. And that's why I honor you and Sally, Andrew, because you are users of the product. You are booking a trip from a trip. You are leading by example. And that's so important for retention, because Dream Trips is the glue. If someone tries and sells this without trying it, what are they selling? Right? What are they selling? They haven't experienced it. They haven't breathed and lived what a unique dream trip is. How is that different from any other holiday? How you treat it differently? I'm just going to walk up to the reception, and I'm hoping that the signal doesn't fall. But I'll just kind of show you, for all our dream trippers there, what that looks like when someone arrives. And at this specific hotel in El Greco, I sat with the owner today. We do back-to-back groups almost through the whole year, from April to October, November. What you can do to create unique experiences, because when our excursions are unique. So can you see that?
Not yet. There we go. You should be here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's Santorini. And that's what people see when they walk into the lobby of the hotel.
Amazing.
So it's a beautiful hotel, right? And then our check-in desk is here the whole time. Right? And then all our board is with the any of what's here, right? So that's what we can do when we've got hotels. We can just take our experiences and what we do to a whole different level.
Absolutely. I love what you say. Be a product of the product, use the product. And, that just the more we use it, the more we would expect to be available to us. So George, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the call. You added such immense value. Thank you so much. And also meeting again for another time. And in a week's time, I'm off for a hot air balloon ride, another dream trip. So
nice, awesome.
Watch us on social media. I'm sure we'll be able to add some value and give you some feedback on that. So George, it's been a pleasure having you on the call. Thank
Brilliant.
you so much.
Thanks, Andrew. Thank you, Africa. Have an awesome one. We'll talk soon. See you on Dream Trips.
Awesome. Thank you, George. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.